So we've reached the point where Predator versus Spider-Man has come to an end. And in this conclusion, Craven was like, hey, I'm leaving here with something. So if you're just hopping in now, I got the full playlist in the description. Drop a like if you enjoy these videos, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so jumping back in, the first thing we see is a manhole cover pop up with a bunch of rats just spewing out of this thing. And you guys already know from the last issue what this is all about. Because next when we see MJ, who's the one opening this cover, while helping the girl she met at the subway, with the both of them covered in rats and all kind of bites and scratches, this lets us know that the whole situation with them hiding in a pool of rats to cover their heat signature, it worked well enough to give them a head start at getting away from the Skinner Predator, who is hot on their heels at this moment. But I gotta say, and some of you guys mentioned this when we talked about it last, because y'all were talking about how the girls were definitely gonna have some bites and scratches on them, at the least. And for me, now with seeing this, I'm just like, man, when this is all over, these girls gotta go out for some shots. And I ain't talking about at no bar either. Because there ain't no telling what them rats done passed on to them. But even with them getting out of the sewer, the girl that's with MJ, she tells her, I can hear that thing coming, only for the Skinner Predator to come out right behind them. And it's even still playing the voice mimic that says, help me, help me. But also we're told here, this Yautja delights in the skins of its prey. It does not hunt for honor, it hunts for fear. Which just reminds us that this guy's not gonna leave someone alone because they're unarmed. This thing delights in killing anything, no exceptions. But fortunately for MJ and the other girl, before the Skinner Predator can get to them, there's an explosion nearby, which was the one from the last issue, that gets this guy's attention. And then it says here, Skinner is an outlier among the Yautja, despised, targeted. He knows how to protect himself, and he can smell the plasma burner of a ship nearby, which is basically it's saying because of this explosion, the Skinner Predator now knows where the hunting party's at that's coming after him, as well as their ship. So the Skinner immediately heads out that way, because when it comes to protecting itself, it has to do something about them rather than just wait for the party to find him. So for that reason, this dude makes a beeline for the Daily Bugle, which is where the explosion came from, which for a very brief moment gives MJ and this other girl a bit of relief, until another hand comes up from the sewer grabbing MJ's leg. With this now being Craven, who is hunting down the Predator and demanding for MJ to tell him where he went, which as we know is back towards the Bugle. And speaking of the Bugle, like we saw before, just outside we got Detective LaPearl and J. Jonah Jameson being attacked by a Predator from the hunting party who had just taken a nasty fall from Jonah's office all the way down here. But when the detective tries to defend herself and Jonah by drawing a gun, this Predator just smacks it out of her hand and it just tosses her. So Jonah goes in to help and he gets the same treatment. And really for the two of them, even though they don't know what they're fighting right now, like they've been trying to process that this whole time, what they do know without a doubt is that it's connected to these recent killings in some way or form. But as this Predator is basically just juggling J. Jonah and Detective LaPearl, this dude is impaled from behind, as we're given more information that basically responds to J. Jonah Jameson and Detective LaPearl's assumption of this guy being connected to the murders, with it saying they are right and they are wrong. The true monster has emerged. Skinner, the killer of prey and predator alike. Because again, this dude really don't care. It's like Hannibal Lecter or Leatherface, but from another planet. But right after this, when we head back up into the building at the Daily Bugle, if you guys remember in the last issue, we got a bit of a cliffhanger because one of the last things we saw was Peter web a couple of these predators up just before another put a target right on his head. And that was like the last thing we saw before the big boom, which sent one of the webbed up predators out the window, but inside, the predator who spotted Peter missed thanks to Peter's spider sense, and now he's chasing him through the bugle with the shoulder cannon, which kind of reminds me of the old song with the sample and the cannon. Dun, 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 dun. But either way, I digress. But nonetheless, this predator's just airing out the Daily Bugle with his plasma caster. But also there's this moment here as Peter's being chased where he's like, you guys, I've already got a stacked rogues gallery. I don't need a bunch of horseshoe, crab-headed space weirdos suddenly deciding New York will be a fun place to destroy. Maybe you can make trouble elsewhere, like Jersey. And now it's like, man, both the Godzilla story and now Predator, why are the Human Torch and Spider-Man throwing shade at Jersey? But funny enough, it's also in this moment where Peter catches a plasma caster blast right to the chest that sends him flying out of the building. And at this point just above, the Skinner Predator's made his way up top to the roof of the Bugle where the hunting party's ship's at. And it says here, Skinner knows his best chance of survival isn't an assault on the Yautja, it's to return to the shadows. If he destroys the ship, they will be trapped here with him in this dark, hot maze of a city he knows too well. So he is focused on them. He fails to realize there is another hunter stalking him. Cause now Craven's made his way up here and he's not playing around. Cause this fight is visceral from the jump. They're stabbing and slicing each other almost as if these two are playing a game called Who Can Keep the Most Blood in Their System. Cause I'm telling you, for a minute, it looks like the both of them are about to have a tie for last place. Cause they're both stabbing and carving each other up like crazy. But eventually this leads to Craven coming out on top, with him taking the Skinner's head clean off. And I mean, maybe not that clean, but you know what I mean. And when Craven does this, he lets out this primal cry of victory. But after that cry is finished, he then hears another sound, which of course is the countdown to the self-destructing device that's capable of taking out half the city. And so now when Spider-Man shows up with a few broken ribs and his left ear ringing after getting boomed with that plasma caster, we find out that Peter was led up here by a spider sense. So when he sees the device and he hears the noise it's making, he points to it and he asks Craven, "Is that what I think it is?" And Craven just responds saying it is. Death to us all. So that's where Peter tells him to cut it off now. And as Craven does, he lets him know it may only have seconds left. So Peter webs it up and he gets out of there. And we're told through all this, under normal circumstances, Craven and Spider-Man are mortal enemies. But these are not normal circumstances. Spider-Man knows it will not be enough, but he wraps the bomb in spider silk to muffle it. And you can see as he's racing to get away from the city, MJ's down below calling for him by his government name, mind you. But it goes on to say, he doesn't hear her, but the thought of MJ is always with him. And as the hand starts glowing, it says he would sacrifice himself for the city, but he would die 1,000,000 times over for her. And at this point, with Peter managing to get out just far enough to drop this countdown device and make his way back, even still, the explosion is insanely huge and extremely bright. And I mean, even to the point where it's nearly blinding Craven all the way back at the Bugle. And while he's watching, he gives a little speech in Spider-Man's honor, where he's like, "I've always imagined my blade would end Spider-Man, but that was a worthy death." And I mean, I'm sure Peter would have loved to have heard such kind words. Like, he should put that on the card. But then out of nowhere, Craven suddenly realizes that he's not alone up here, just before he's attacked by a predator from the hunting party. And he couldn't be happier, because now he's like, oh, there's more. Good. And I mean, he probably would be happier if he wasn't all carved up with his own blood everywhere, because man, he's looking bad. But at the same time, Craven is the type who would like that kind of thing. Because even now, Craven's like, come and get it. Let's taste each other's blood. But this time around, this predator gets the upper hand on him. But it doesn't even matter to Craven, because he's like, if I'm gonna die, then let me die like this, at the hands of a great hunter. And I'll even say, seeing this predator catch Craven, it makes sense, because the Skinner predator was mad skinny, while this one is completely jacked, as well as a true hunter through and through. But back down on the ground with J. Jonah Jameson and Detective LaPearl, we see the two of them individually trying to piece together how they're going to tell this to others, only to realize they're not walking away with this with much. Because for Jameson, this is like the headline that no one will ever believe, while for the detective, she's not worried about a headline, but for her is more so the police report on the serial killer, who is 8 foot tall and also wanted by an interstellar hit squad. And for a moment, they look at each other like, okay, we got no photos, we got no footage. People are going to think we're crazy. And that's when they hear a scaring sound nearby, only to discover that the hunting predator from earlier, you know, the one who was kebabbed by the Skinner, he's still alive. So they approach very cautiously, only to hear a voice from behind them say, "Guns down, hands up, step away from the specimen," with this voice coming from none other than Abraham Cornelius, who's most likely with Weapon X at this point. So it's likely he's already met Professor Andre Thornton, and now they're about to take this predator and give him adamantium everything, which I gotta admit sounds like a great pitch for Predator Kills the Marvel Universe, which is also written by Benjamin Percy. So hey, who knows? Because really, even with this being the ending of Predator vs. Spider-Man, Percy's setting up a lot of things in this universe that are just begging for a continuation. And I'm talking about from all the Marvel Predator verses that he's put out, because all of Percy's stories are coming together soon. And this one's adding a lot of good pieces to the big picture, especially here towards the very end when we jump around a bit. Because at one point we jump back to MJ, which is how we find out that Peter is still alive, and to wrap things up with Craven, with him killing the Skinner and standing up to the hunting party. These predators take the Skinner's body and its head, and the one who Craven was fighting, he spares him. And it doesn't look to be that way at first, because when this predator takes off his helmet and draws his blade, Craven's like, oh, it's time. Like, at least he's gonna get an honorable death. But that's not even what this is, because instead, he's basically doing a blood ritual for Craven, which for the Yautja, this is how they separate the boys from the men, so to speak. Because after the young Yautja kill their first xenomorph, and I imagine there's other cases where if you kill a bad blood, you can be blooded as well. But after one is blooded, as long as you stick to the Yautja code, you get access to better weapons, body augmentations, and so on. But also while this is happening, it says here, his forehead burns as the Yautja makes a mark on him. The mark left at crime scenes that spanned the globe and the century. The mark of Skinner. Craven hasn't just been spared, he has been branded as the ultimate killer, a bloodied warrior. And as the predator that marked him goes back to the ship, it uses its vocal mimicking device to play the words, "A great hunter, come and get it." So of course Craven goes running on that ship like a little kid. Like, you don't have to tell me twice. And when the ship leaves, MJ and Peter, they see it go, and MJ's like, they're gone, we're safe. But Peter has his suspicions that it's not quite over just yet. And I mean, to be honest, I have the lingering suspicion that Peter's right. Because who wouldn't want to see Weapon X Predator, as well as Craven with all of his Yautja upgrades? And also with us being told that the story will continue in Predator Kills the Marvel Universe issue 1, which again is also written by Benjamin Percy and dropping in August. This series is said to bring together everything we've seen, from Predator vs. Wolverine to Predator vs. Black Panther, as well as Predator vs. Spider-Man. And that's what it says on Marvel.com. I think they know what they're talking about, so I'm excited. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to the most in Predator Kills the Marvel Universe. Because who knows, they might even drop Predator in Marvel Rivals. Okay, maybe that's a bit too much. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.